You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, my co-ed channel for men and women. Make sure y'all hit that like button as you enter in. Basically, I do content on spiritual awareness, things that also affect the black community, and particularly black women, to further make them aware of a lot of the issues in which they need to work on within themselves. But nevertheless, let's get right into it. So I've been peeping through the bushes, and I've been noticing that anytime a woman over 40 has children, I noticed, right? I've been basically observing and noticing that it is always the women who are basically degrading other women who are making the decision to wait until their 40s before they actually start having children. Now, I know also there's been many, there's been some men in some instances that consider women over the age 40 hitting the wall, and this is one of those red pill, myths that if a woman reaches a certain age that, she's no longer of value, that her value as a woman has depreciated and she should basically settle for what she can get. However, what a lot of them are not understanding, it is actually the opposite. The reason why you have some sisters that's taking a long time to have children is because of that very reason. They choose not to settle. And this has a lot to do with the negative stereotypes that a lot of women have to have enough confidence within themselves to say, you know what, I know that's how the black community perceives it, but me as a woman, I'm opting out and making a decision that I know would be best for me. I'm not going to follow the statistics. I'm not going to follow the trend. And let me tell you some of these trends. A lot of these, hood rat myths that has been programmed into the mindset of black women. Well, your biological clock, after 36, your eggs, you can't ovulate, you have a harder time conceiving children. That's one, false narrative that's been pushed, and I will say it's been black women were the ones creating this in the black community. They kept insinuating, pushing these narratives that if a woman does not have her child by 36, basically she's too old. And this is my opinion on this. People so consumed on age, they're not understanding age is not the biggest factor in determining if a woman will have a healthy pregnancy. The biggest issue at hand that will determine if a woman has a healthy pregnancy or not has everything to do with her lifestyle. Listen, I know some unhealthy 22-year-olds, and I know some very healthy 40-year-old women. I know women who go to the gym, who work out. I go to the gym. I go to the park daily, which I've been slipping lately, which is why I ordered me an at-home treadmill so I can be home, because I'm starting to hate leaving my house a lot for stuff, right? Anyway, that's besides the point. You have women at the age of 40 who are very health conscious. They're more health conscious than women that are in their 20s, because women in their 20s, for one, they're not mature enough thinking that eventually I'm going to get older. These titties are perky now. This booty is perky now, but eventually it's going to drop like Walmart rollback prices. You feel me? You're not thinking like that in your 20s. You're thinking you're going to be fine and fabulous forever. Women who are in their middle 30s, approaching their 40s, and in middle 40s, we know that this is a very critical age. And we sit back, we reflect on a lot of the bad choices we made during our youth. And some of us who have a conscience, who want to better ourselves, we take the necessary steps to change those things. Doing yoga, like I said, exercising, eating healthier, cutting back on sugary drinks. Main thing is cutting back on drugs, smoking excessive marijuana, decreasing our alcohol intake. We realize as we get older, just certain things our body doesn't agree with and we have to change. So a woman who has this mindset, and I would say you do have some young women who have this mindset as well. We just speaking on the majority, not the minority, right? I know it's going to always be an exception. It's going to be somebody come in the chat. That's not true. I'm 21 and I go to the gym every day. I mean, whoop-de-doo. But what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to make everyone understand for the most part is that a woman's age does not detect if she's going to have a healthy pregnancy. It's her lifestyle. If she's going to the gym, she's eating healthy, she doesn't drink a lot, she has alcohol moderately, she does not smoke excessively, she can still produce a baby and have a healthy pregnancy. I know some 22, 23-year-olds who had unhealthy pregnancies. Why? Because they don't care what they eat. Some of these young women come here with health issues. Young women come here type 1 diabetics. Young women come here sickle cell anemia. A lot of this stuff used to be older women's, older person's medical issue. But now I'm starting to notice a lot of us in our 30s and 40s are getting things that our grandparents didn't get till they got in their 60s and 70s. During the 60s and the 70s, most people didn't become diabetic until they got in their 60s and 70s. That's where they had to start watching their insulin intake. Now you got people that's born with type 1 diabetes, or in their 40s just not experiencing they got insulin issues. A lot of these things we didn't have as issues. Older people didn't have as issues until they got in their 60s or 70s. And guess what? The next generation that's coming right behind it, they're going to get theirs even younger. All of us who find out we diabetic in our 30s, and 40s, they're going to find out in their 20s. Each generation, all of the issues we're facing now is going to be even more critical for the generations that follow. So, long as women are taking care of themselves, they can produce a healthy baby. 20 young women living recklessly, who have had children, they had children who had medical issues. Why? From smoking so much, drinking so much, having excessive unprotected sex, babies being born, from diseases, from a parent who has had, chlamydia, gonorrhea, who has contracted multiple STDs. All young women are not having healthy babies. So we could debunk that myth, right? That if the younger you are, the better chances of having a healthy pregnancy. That's far from the truth. Take care of your body. Take care of your health. Health is wealth. You can have a phenomenal pregnancy. And this doesn't always have to be involved with IVs. And if so, you still have to have, your body still has to be in good enough shape to receive those IVs, to receive artificial inseminations. If your body is still not intact, your health is still not intact, IVs won't even work and help you to be able to produce children. Now, this is not to say that some women, and when they got in their 40s, they did have to get extra help. Because the reproductive system, it does not, you don't ovulate as much as you get older. So there have been women over 40 who have had to get some extra help. However, again, if your body is still not intact, your health, it does not matter how many IVs you get, it's not going to be a successful pregnancy. Again, you got young women who have conception issues, or if they were able to produce children, they have children who come here with issues, whether if it's mental or physical, like cerebral palsy and things of that nature. Pregnancies, healthy pregnancies, are not determined based off of your age. It's how you live your life. Secondly, this is the other hood rat myth of, well, I want to have my kids young so I can have them all together. I want to have them all together around and get them out the way. First of all, when you have children, there's no such thing as having them all to get them out the way. Once they are here, they're going to always be in your way. They never get out your way. You got to take care of them jokers. You got to feed them. You got to make sure they're going to school. You have to definitely be responsible for these human beings. And it never ends. So that myth of, I just want to have them all and get them out the way, that's not a wise excuse for a woman deciding to have multiple children, because she fears that if she don't have all of these kids in her 20s, she has them in her 30s or 40s. That's too old. That's too old. I don't know where this ignorant assessment of people thinking that women are too old. It's not about her age. Does that woman have the mindset? Does she have the physical abilities? If she's in her late 40s, if she has exercised the majority of her life, that particular 40 don't have the mind of the average 40, depending on how well she took care of herself. There are some 40s that got the body and the strength of a 20-year-old, and there are some 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds that look well within over their age. They look way ahead of their time. I know some rough looking 20s. I know some strong face looking 30s that will make some 40s look like they 20s. And that's the God's honest truth. And I'm sure a lot of you men have seen it. I'm sure some of you men, have met women up in their age and was surprised when she tells you she's 45 or she's 48 because she looks like she's 28. And I'm sure some of y'all done seen some young girls that look like they 35 or 40, and you find out they only 18. They're only 20. A lot of these younger women are overly developed because, keep in mind, some of them started becoming promiscuous at a very young age. So promiscuousness makes you overly develop quickly. Now, some young women are just biologically voluptuous because of their mother, their grandmothers, and it does not mean that they've been with multiple men. Some women are just gifted with goodies at an earlier age because of the genes, the genetics that runs through their family. Some women come from a family line where all the women within that family have big booties, have big titties. That's just a trait that has been passed down from great grandmama to grandmama to grandmama from generation. Cornbread fed natural. When you're talking about no BBL or things of that nature, right? So some women are naturally voluptuous, are advanced. You have young women that have advanced body parts, and that's only because, again, it's in their DNA. But for some of them, it has everything to do with the fact they was promiscuous. They've been screwing grown men or screwing guys their age out of 12, 13. So when a woman starts having sex and she becomes promiscuous, her body tends to overdevelop. Once your body has started receiving those type of, start receiving that type of chemicals that transpire when two individuals are sexually intimate with one another. But anyway, that's a myth that a lot of people putting out there, females particularly. They want to have their children all together. They don't want to wait till they get old. To them, 40 years old, 50 years old. Not understanding old is in the mind. It's in the body. It's not. It's not. It's I know what I'm trying to say. Age has everything to do with your mindset and your strength. You could be 40 years old, but if you take care of your body right and you keep your mind intact, you still have just as much strength and capability to do anything the average 20-year-old female does, right? So that's a myth. The next myth is that when women wait in their 40s to have children, they too old. What is old? Old, what, my age? Old because you know, I may have a wrinkle here and there. I may have, you know, some weight that I have accumulated. You don't get to decide what's old. Old and aging is a blessing, because a lot of people not even living long enough to even experience aging, to experience getting older. So calling somebody old should not be considered an insult. And if people call you old and say you don't hit the wall, or you don't hit the wall, don't consider that an insult. That's a blessing. A lot of my friends, I can say, did not make it to their 40s. And I'm sure a lot of you men can say the same thing. A lot of y'all homeboys, guys you grew up with from around the way, half of those men aren't, the majority of your friends that you graduated, went to school with, born and raised in the same neighborhood, a lot of them aren't living. So old should not be considered a bad thing. Being old is a blessing in disguise, because a lot of these young people, our grandparents, are outliving this generation. It just simply is. So old should not be considered an insult. Now, getting to the point why women are waiting to experience. First of all, you have a lot of women that are wise enough to understand the worst time a woman can make decisions on what type of man to choose as the father of her child is during her youth. It's a fatal mistake for little girls to make grown woman decisions. Meaning, if you're barely in your 20s and you are already becoming a mother, that means you chose a father for your child based off of the mindset of a teenager or a young adult woman transitioning from adolescence to womanhood. Meaning, you don't have all of the experience and the knowledge to make such a heavy decision with that type of mindset. You got a lot of these young girls that are single mothers. They are miserable due to the fact that they are stuck as single mothers. And I'm not saying all single mothers are miserable, because you have some that they enjoy being a mother to their children, whether if the father is reliable or non-reliable. They don't allow their bad decisions to hinder them from being good mothers. But in most cases, a lot of young women are miserable because they did not have the maturity, they did not have the right mental capacity to know what type of man to choose. This is why it's dangerous when you experience motherhood in such a young age, because you really don't know what to really look for in a man. You have not been out there. You haven't dated enough. You haven't, been with different guys to kind of learn something within the dating world. And I don't mean been with different guys as far as being promiscuous and smashing everybody, whatever, but you don't have no experience. You're only 20, you're 15, you're 18, and you're about to become a mother. How do you know at this stage in your life that you know what would be considered a good man, or as far as father material for your child, when you still have a child mindset yourself? This is the reason why the single parenting household population is at an all-time high, because you got a lot of young girls that chose men to father children with the little girl mindset. And it's very dangerous. You have to give yourself enough time and experience by dating, talking to different men, learning about men, learning about the value of having a family. it's important that you have a lot of this knowledge down packed, or at least understand the basis of them before you make the decision and say, oh, I want him to be my baby daddy. Why? Because he looks cute. Why? Because you like him. The difference is when you are 40, and I'm not recommending or telling women to wait till you're 40 to have children. Do what you will. If you want to have a bunch of children at 20, 30, that's your business. But what I'm saying is this. When you are 40, by then you've already dated a great amount of men to pretty much have a handle on what type of man you would want as the father for your children. My mindset at 20 is nowhere like my mindset is now at 44. And I'm very grateful that I didn't have, a child at 16, 15 years old, because a lot of the men that I chose during that duration of my life, meaning I lacked knowledge, I lacked wisdom, I lacked understanding, I had no experience with men to really know what to look for, I would have ended up having a child from a pookie. Because at that age, I really did not know myself. I really didn't know what I wanted out of life. And I hadn't dated enough of guys at that point in time to really know what to look for. And looking back, I'm not with none of those guys that was my boyfriend or guys that I was dating when I was 16, 17. Seeing how we ended up breaking up, even though there was no children involved, it made me grateful that I don't have any kids from any of my exes. By the time I did have my first child, I was in my 20s, but I was married and I was with my husband by then. And believe it or not, I did a lot of my partying when I was 15 or 16. So by the time I got 18 or 19, my interest on the club scene and the dating scene, that I pretty much weaned off of that, because I didn't become a mother at a young age. So I was able to live my life as a teenager, enjoy my youth, enjoy partying, having a good time. That's why by the time I got in my 20s, I was ready to settle down, because I had already had my fun when I graduated high school. I lived my life. I didn't become a mom. I didn't have any responsibilities that made me feel like I was missing out, and now I got to run back out there and have a good time. And see, that's the advantage when you use your youth wisely. You use it to have fun, to learn how to, enjoy yourself, and you explore, you do all of those things while you're young. That way, by the time you do get in your early 20s, you have a mindset that no longer yearns the clubs, no longer yearns talking to this guy one week, looking for the guy with the biggest rims on his car, running after the guys that was cute but really had no value. You know what I mean? I would have made some very detrimental decisions in my life had I had children when I was 14, 15. Because like I said, I'm not with any of those guys. And then when we did break up, it wasn't on the best of terms. And I could only thank God that when it ended, we was able to go our separate ways and never have to deal with each other, because there's no children involved. This is the reason why you have a lot of women that are understanding how critical it is to not choose the wrong man to have a child from, because it can really impact your life. It could impact your youth. It could impact your integrity, your esteem, when you basically choose a man that you want to have a child from, but you choosing them with the wrong type of mindset and the lack of maturity, which in most cases will cause you to choose wrong. A lot of women are opting away from that, and a lot of them have made the decision, you know what, I'm not having any children at a young age. I need more experience. I need to date. I need to build my career. See, a lot of women over 40 have been bashed, and a lot of people have trashed women for waiting that long. But there's a reason why a lot of these sisters done took that approach. Because for one, they wanted to be young women. They did not want to be home keeping a pookie and a ray ray. They want to go to the mall. They want to go to the skating range. They want to be with friends. You want to work little jobs so you can buy your clothes and do little things for yourself. That's what you're supposed to do when you're a young woman graduating out of high school. You're learning yourself. You're building your independence. You're supposed to be enjoying your youth. Not your youth be taken away from you because you made the decision to become a mother during that season in your life. So you have a lot of women who didn't have babies early because they wanted to live their life. Secondly, you have a lot of women who waited till 40 to have children because they wanted to establish a career. A lot of women in the industry, as you notice, are late breeders, like Mariah Carey. She waited till she was way past 30s, past her 30s when she decided to have a child, her twins. Holly Berry. Here it is, Ashanti is having her first child. I mean, a lot of people are dragging women over the age of 40 or close to the age of 40 for having children. But these are the same exact women who pretty much plan their lives out. They didn't want to be a mother at 20, at 30. That's the time in which you are still learning yourself. You know what I mean? You still trying to figure out what you want to do in life. Not only that, you still wilding out. You know what I'm saying? You run in the streets, you in the clubs. You still very selfish. I know I was very selfish. And my during my teens, when I was 18, 19, it wouldn't have did me no good to have no baby at 15, 16 because I was very selfish. I was very spoiled. I'm used to whatever my parents do for me, it all comes to me. With the child, you're no longer the center of the attention anymore. Everything that you get is going to be for that child. You know, I didn't like, depriving myself. And I knew having a child because I had parents that taught me about safe sex. I had a mother who made me understood what being a parent really consists of. And I just didn't want any of that. I wanted to enjoy my life. I want to be able to go to the beach when I want to go to the beach. Go to the mall when I want to go to the mall. Do what I want to do. I didn't want to go to the house, so I got to ask my mom or somebody to keep my baby every time I want to make a move. I didn't want that. You got a lot of women who wanted to enjoy their youth. Okay? And like I was getting ready to say with the next point, they are establishing a career. A lot of women in the industry been singers for years. Mariah Carey been a singer for years before she became a mother. Janet Jackson is an icon. She's been in the business every bit of, I'm thinking 3 decades by now. Long time. Her music was her baby. A lot of women, their career, their music, their craft, whatever it is they have going for themselves, they really want to put a lot of energy into that before they become a mother. Unlike a lot of these young women out here who are becoming mothers, didn't get a chance to finish living their youth, partying, getting all of that out their system. Not only that, they didn't get a chance to establish their careers. Women in the age of 40, in most cases, have some type of established career path. They're supposed to anyway. Not only that, women who like to spoil themselves, meaning every time they get paid, they want to take their money and do what they want to do with it, get their hair done, get their nails done, enjoy themselves. Not to say you can't do it with a child, but you have way more room to do as you want to do when you don't have a child. You don't have to go through the shenanigans of finding a babysitter. You beefing with your baby daddy because he's a non-participating factor. A lot of women with knowledge and wisdom, they're not going to take themselves through that. They'd rather wait when they are well established within their career. That way, if things do not work out, they don't have to be angry and bitter with the baby daddy who may end up being an ain't shit dude because they know they got it. They know they can back their own selves up whether they get the support, child support, or no support at all that they need. Young women who are not established within their careers, who have no type of stability, These are the ones who have a harder time providing for their own children, or having patience to deal with their own children, because they are frustrated at the fact they cannot give their children all of what they need. So they take their frustration out on the children by being mean to them, by spanking them, or leaving them off on other family members, because they don't want to deal with the burden of the very issue they cause. But yet it's easier for them to take out their frustration on the children, because the children are vulnerable and they really have no place else to go. So they got to deal with however, they being dealt with. So you have women that's waiting in their 40s for that reason. They don't want that kind of smoke in their life. They don't want to have to go through that hassle of not being able to provide for their own kids. They want to make sure they are established and have grounded themselves with stability. That way they can enjoy having a child without the other shenanigans of having to argue and fight with the other parent who does not think that they have a play a part in financially contributing towards that child as well. Another reason some women are waiting until they get to their 40s is because they want to be married. Let's just face it, in some cases you're not going to find the right man for you in your 20s or your 30s. A lot of older women are getting dragged because they're not married at a certain age. A lot of women are getting dragged because they're not having kids at a certain age. But the thing about it is that you're not promised to meet the right type of men or companion in your 20s or 30s. Because again, most 20s and 30-year-olds, they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what they want. Half of them don't even know themselves to know what to look for. For one, you got to know yourself. You got to learn yourself before you can choose what's the best options for you. Truth is, a lot of these young people, they don't know themselves. And they wonder why they end up having children from the wrong type of man and the wrong type of woman. You did not know who you were, so therefore you picked up somebody who knew nothing more about themselves than you did. People people who lack self-awareness will find themselves drawn or attracted to other people that lack self-awareness. Here it is, two individuals who lack self-awareness now have a child. That's going to depend on the both of them. How can you be an asset to your child when you still don't even know who you are or where you need to be in life? That's why some women wait till their 40s. By then, you should definitely have a good incentive as to what you want at this phase in your life. You done made it past your teens, your 20s, your 30s. Yeah, about 40, you should pretty much have a good handle on what to look for in a man. And that's why a lot of women are waiting until they get in their 40s. They knew good damn well they did not have the logics, the experience, or the wisdom to know what kind of man to look for in their teens, in their 20s. It takes time, it takes maturity, and it takes experience. Another thing is this. The reason why a lot of women are waiting by the time they're in their 40s to have children is because that's usually when you pretty much meet men who want to settle down. Ain't too many dudes want to settle down at 20, want to settle down at 30. I mean, Nelly decided to finally settle down now that he's almost in his 50s. Why? Because he was a rap star. He had all kind of women checking for him. He went into the game as a young man, lustful, not used to all that attention, rich, successful. So he wanted to play around. He wanted to soil his oats or whatever you call it. It's hard to find a man that's going to take you serious in your damn 20s. And a lot of young females think they could play this game by getting pregnant and having these trap babies and thinking that once they have a baby from these young boys, it's automatically going to make them grow up and make them be real men. And it rarely ever happens. And in the end, it ends up being another single mother in a struggle story. A lot of these young men, they do not want to be family men. Some of you men out here probably got several children from several women, but you did not want to be nobody's husband. You did not want to marry any of those women. This is the reason why a lot of women wait till they're 40. Men in their 20s, 30s, they want to play. They still want to play the field. A lot of people try to drag, Nelly and Ashanti. Oh, she wait till he done got played out and he done got washed up or whatever. Okay, so if they would have had their first child together when they was in their 20s or 30s, they wouldn't have been together anyhow. They would have been broke up. At that time of age, there's a lot of selfishness, childishness, immaturity. Then both are successful. Y'all both into, making money at the peak of your careers. They would have not survived, I think, had they had a child in their 20s or 30s. Now, I can kind of see the stability for the both of them at this point. Nelly's been with enough of women at this point to pretty much know what he wants in life. That he finally has reached that place in which, I realized this is the woman I want to be with. It took me to run through some birds. It took me to go through some troubles with the law, to go through some things, to mature me. And now I realize what I want. And I realize what's best for me. It was all about ego, but I'm at a point now where I want something more solid. Everybody tried to drag Ashanti, calling her old, saying she's desperate. She went back for Nelly or whatever. Like, why would you want him now after he done ran through this and that? The whole bottom line is both of them are adults now. Regardless of what everybody perceives on the outside and what everybody thinks about them, they both know what they want. When you're in your 40s, you have an idea pretty much of what you want. I'm more sure of myself now than I ever could have been in my 20s and 30s. That's just me. What I thought I wanted at 20 and 30, I realized ain't no way in the hell that wouldn't have done. God just knew. God has a way on how he orchestrates our lives because he knows what's when and where and what it takes for us to reach a point in life in which we do things differently. Shanti could have been like the rest of these females out here. I don't want my eggs to fry. I don't want my biological clock to stop ticking on me. So let me just get knocked up from the first guy who acts like he likes me, who pretend he likes me. She played it smart. The woman waited till she got in her 40s. By now, she probably would have 3, 4, 5 baby daddies. Not only that, she waited because in actuality, the guy she did date, she did not love them like that. She really loved Nelly. And you have some women like this. They don't want to have children until they find a man who they truly love, who they know they can trust to build a family with. That's exactly what I did. I didn't go around just having multiple kids from different dudes at 15, 16, 17. But when I did meet my husband in my 20s, and after being with him, I realized, okay, this is a man who wants to be a family man. This is a man who wants to build with me. Then I made that decision to have my first child from a man that I really loved and sincerely cared about. I could have picked any Pookie and Ray Ray, but at the end of the day, if things wouldn't have worked out, it would have been on me. So you have a lot of women that are very selective. Everybody just don't want to be a baby mama. Or everybody just don't want to have a child just to say they got one. Everybody doesn't want to have a child just to beat the biological clock. Some women are very, very, very particular when it comes to who they have a child from. They don't want a child from just any man. They don't want a child from just every man. They got things in their life they have to do. They're trying to establish their careers, give themselves time to date, travel, do things, because once you have a child, it's hard to do that. Nobody really wants to date women with children anymore. It's hard to travel when you have children. So the last thing any woman wants to do is screw herself, play herself, having a child young just so people can't discredit her and say, oh, you waited to have a child when you hit the wall. You waited to have a child when you damn near a grandmother. Who decides that 40 is old? Long as that woman is stable and she has the experience and the wisdom, she's going to be a damn good mother. And in most cases, most 40-year-olds are better parents than most 20 or 30-year-olds. Let's argue that. Let's argue that. Most older women make better mothers than young women. It's several young women I can think off my head. They don't want their own kids because when things didn't work out with them and the baby daddy, now they done lost the desire to be a mother to the child. Truth be told, a lot of these young women, they only have babies to lock these guys in, to secure these guys, to secure the man, thinking that once they have that child, that man isn't going anywhere. Only to find out that young man is miserable. He's already bored of being a family man. He's bored of the responsibilities. He walks out, and now she's the single mom who still has to raise her children. Think about it. You got a lot of grown women who didn't experience other women go through this. So, versus repeating the same mistake, a lot of them say, oh, hell no, I'd rather wait till I'm older. I'm not taking myself through this at 20, 30. At least by the time you're in your 40s, you have enough experience in life. You'll know how to kind of maneuver. You'll have more wisdom and knowledge to where you'll be able to come up with more ways of being able to handle the situation accordingly. When you're 20, when you're 15, you're 14, you don't always necessarily know how to prepare for the worst. You don't have enough of womanly skills to be able to bounce back when things don't always work out. Now, I'm not saying other young women have not. I've seen some 20 and 30-year-old young women who had to deal with the harsh realities of the baby daddy not wanting to be with them, or the baby daddy wanting to hold around and still have babies from other women. They had to deal with the harsh realities, and instead of it making them more bitter and making them more sorry, it actually matured some young girls and made them grow up, made them woman up. But that's not always the case. You have a lot of women waiting up in their age before they have a child because they don't want to deal with the fuckboy shenanigans. They don't want to be a single mother. Now, doesn't mean once you're 40, you can't possibly end up a single mother. You can't possibly bamboozle and get caught up with a fuckboy. No, it doesn't exempt you, but the chances are less. And the thing about it is, because you have the maturity and experience, you will be able to maintain even if the operation fails you. Even if the father disappoints you and lets you down. You have the womanly skills and the tools to be able to conquer it. So you have women like Janet Jackson, Tamara Hall, Holly Berry. You have all of these women, and not only they were able to have children, they were able to have healthy children. Able to go back on tour, able to get right back into their career. It's not the age, it's about that woman's mindset. But what you need to do is, instead of trying to keep up with how late or how early a woman has her child, just admire the fact that, she was even able to even have one. People don't realize Ashanti has always been very health conscious. The girl stays in the gym. Because I've always followed her Instagram and stuff way before she got back with Nelly. She's always been into the gym. She's always kept herself up really well. She's not your average 40. She's a beautiful 40-year-old woman who knows what she wants out of life. She's not settling. And she waited to have her child from the man who she always loved, which was Nelly. She could have allowed several dudes to smash and had multiple children. Now, has she really been out there, according to the rumors, allegedly with Irv Gotti and all of that? I can't confirm nor deny, but she was smart enough not to have no children from anybody else out there. She waited till she was really ready. A lot of times you don't have to wait till you ruin yourself to learn. You can learn just by observing other people around you who didn't make the best of decisions. It's a lot of women out here who rushed to beat the biological clock, who rushed because they felt like if I don't get all my kids now, 40's too old, and they're miserable. And if anything, you can age even quicker when you have children that you weren't prepared to have. So while you're making fun of the women that's waiting till their 40s to have children, keep in mind a lot of you young women, y'all are aging way ahead of your time too, because y'all are stressed out having to take care of them babies by yourself. Y'all are stressed out that y'all baby daddies are not cooperating because he's always locked up, or either he died from making bad decisions, not thinking about his children, his family. And a lot of y'all look worn out. A lot of y'all are in y'all 20s and look like y'all are in y'all 60s. So you can age way before your time according to how much responsibilities and baggage you have brought onto yourselves. So anyway, go ahead and hit that like button, y'all, before I shut things down. That's why you have some women, they're waiting to experience motherhood over 40. They're not with the fuckboy shenanigans. They're not with the, they're not looking forward to basically having to carry the bag, having to carry all the weight at such a young age. These women want to live their lives, establish their careers, get themselves enough experience with dating men, to learn men, get themselves enough of room to travel, do all of that. That way, by the time you're in your 40s, you'll be a phenomenal mother because you done been everywhere, you done experienced everything, you done traveled. See, a lot of you young women, y'all had y'all babies early, and now you want to go party. You want to do everything the 40-year-old gave herself the time to do before she had kids. Now you want to travel. Now you want to date. You want to date 3-4 kids later. You want to travel 3-4 kids later. You want to marry 3-4 kids later. But yet y'all up here going to tear down women who were wise enough to wait and got up in age and now making the decision to be a mother. How dare y'all? And again, it's mostly women who doing this. I've been peeping many of y'all on YouTube, social media, whatever, dragging women, calling them old for having babies at 40. It just amazes me. It's always women who be doing the most. But anyway, I don't talk long enough. I'm getting ready to go into an hour. I'm trying to get in the habit of keeping my content down to an hour. Because you start to lose people when you do too much. When you go on too long. So I'm trying to learn how to minimize that. But anyway, y'all, hit the like button. Let me know what y'all think about this. Do you think that women who are waiting at the age of 40 should be ridiculed, should be criticized because they decided to wait after they done lived their youth? Or is it better to have all of your kids when you're 20, 30, when you didn't get a chance to travel, didn't find the right companion who you could trust to have your children from, based off of the mindset of your youth at the time when you made the decision? Anyway, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think. Ladies, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to my ladies only channel, Mocha's Ladies Lounge. Anyway, y'all take care. Till next time, y'all have a good one. I'm out.